cop said, "Sit on your knees," and arrested the black woman in the street at night. Sit on your knees. That's what they said. No warning, no reason. Just those 4 words. Loud, sharp, like a slap in the cold night air. And she did. Right there, on cracked pavement under a flickering streetlight. She knelt. In silence. No shouting. No fighting. Just still. Her name's Ayanna. She was 26. 7 months pregnant, coming home from a double shift at the diner 2 blocks away. No car, no rides, just swollen feet, a worn-out uniform, and a cheap grocery bag with a sandwich and baby socks inside. That's it. She didn't run. She didn't resist. She didn't even speak at first. One of them had his hand on his taser. The other, already calling something in on the radio like she was a threat just for standing there. You ever seen someone try not to cry so hard their lips shake? That was her. She said, "I work over there." Check the cameras. They didn't care. She said, "I'm pregnant. I'm not doing anything." They didn't blink. And when she reached slowly to grab her ID from her back pocket, the taller one shouted, "Don't move!" So loud it echoed off the brick. She froze. And that's when they cuffed her, behind her back, while she was still on her knees. Have you ever seen someone humiliated for absolutely nothing? Like they knew the truth wouldn't matter? That's how it started. Not a crime, not a chase, just a black woman in a hoodie, at night. They didn't ask her name until they got her in the back of the car. Windows up, no AC. Her forehead was sweating, belly tight from how she was sitting, squished between hard plastic and metal bars. She said again, quiet this time, "I work at Benny's." I didn't do anything. The short one looked at her in the rear view. "You match a description. Suspicious activity was reported nearby." That was it. That was the reason. She looked down at her lap. Her grocery bag was still on the sidewalk, probably getting rained on. The cuffs hurt. She tried to adjust her wrist and winced. The tall one in the passenger seat noticed and turned around. "Stop moving." "I'm not resisting," she said. I said stop, and she did. Again. The drive was 5 minutes. Felt like 50. You ever feel your heartbeat in your ears? That's what it was like for her. When they pulled up to the station, the rain started. Soft at first, then heavy. The parking lot glistened under yellow lights. They pulled her out. Didn't offer a jacket. Didn't cover her belly. Inside, the woman at the desk looked confused. "What's the charge?" The cops looked at each other. One of them said, "Still unclear? We're figuring it out." Still unclear? Ayanna stood there, drenched, shivering, and said nothing. Because what do you even say to that? They didn't put her in a cell. Not yet. They sat her on a bench. No cushion. Just cold metal and flickering lights above. Her clothes were soaked through, hair sticking to her forehead. She asked, real calm, "Can I make a call?" The tall one didn't answer. The short one shrugged. "You'll get a turn." A turn, like she was waiting in line for a prize. Ayanna stared at the floor. Her shoes were falling apart. One of the soles was peeling. She'd been meaning to glue it. A younger officer walked by and did a double take. She heard him whisper to another guy, "She's pregnant, man." What did she do? No one had an answer, because there wasn't one. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then almost an hour. No charges, no updates. Just silence. Like the longer she sat there, the guiltier she must be. Then, the door opened, and a woman walked in. Black suit, high heels clicking, straight posture, clipboard in hand. "Why is this woman still cuffed?" she asked. Her voice cut through the room like glass breaking. Silence. Who brought her in? She asked again, sharper. The tall cop raised his hand. We got a call. Was she armed? No. Did she resist? No. The woman lowered the clipboard. Then uncuff her. Now. They hesitated. Just for a second. But they did it. Ayanna didn't say thank you. Not yet. She just rubbed her wrists and blinked fast like she was holding back everything all at once. You ever watch someone go from invisible to visible in 5 seconds flat? Once the cuffs were off, she felt lighter. But her legs still shook. The woman in the suit didn't introduce herself. Didn't explain why she'd shown up out of nowhere. Just said, "You're free to go." Ayanna stared. She wanted to ask, why? Why me? But her voice caught in her throat. The cops looked away. The tension in the room was thick, like smoke. Outside, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. She stepped out, the cold air hitting her like a slap. Her soaked clothes clung to her belly, and for a moment, she wondered if anyone had even cared. She walked slowly back down the sidewalk, head down, hugging herself like she could fold up and disappear. People passed by, eyes fixed on their phones or ahead. Nobody stopped. Nobody asked. She thought about the baby, about the life growing inside her. How fragile it felt after a night like this. She wiped a tear without wanting anyone to see. You ever felt so small in a big city that the buildings themselves seemed to swallow you whole? Ayanna kept walking. And somewhere deep down, she made a promise, not to herself, but to that baby, that she'd find a way to make sure this never happened again. What would you do if you were her? Can you imagine? The next morning, Ayanna sat on her small apartment floor, staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed. No missed calls, no messages, just silence. She thought about calling her mom, but the words wouldn't come out. How do you explain that you were treated like a criminal for walking home? For being pregnant? For just existing? She looked down at the baby socks she'd bought last week, small and soft. She whispered, "I'm going to protect you." I swear, but the fear lingered, like a shadow that wouldn't leave her side. At work, the customers noticed the way she flinched when a car door slammed, the way her smile was tight, forced. Her boss pulled her aside. "You okay?" he asked. She shook her head. "I don't know." Days went by. The cops didn't call. No apology, no explanation. She'd started watching the news more. Stories like hers happening all over. She told herself, "I'm not alone." But still, she felt the weight, the shame, the question, why me? Have you ever been in a place where the world seems unfair, but you still have to keep going? Ayanna knew she couldn't give up, not for her baby, not for herself. What would you do if this was your life? Then something unexpected happened. One evening, while scrolling through social media, Ayanna saw a post, a video. It showed someone recording that same street where she was arrested. A bystander's phone camera had captured the moment. The words "unjust arrest" were in the caption. People were talking, sharing, getting angry. Her story wasn't invisible anymore. Her phone rang. It was a lawyer who had seen the video. "We want to help you," the voice said. "You don't have to face this alone." For the first time, Ayanna felt a spark. Like maybe, just maybe, things could change. She agreed to speak out, to share her truth, to fight not just for herself, but for every person who'd ever been stopped without cause. She looked down at her belly, smiled softly and said, "We're going to be all right." What would you do in her shoes? Would you stay silent or speak up? If you were in this situation, what would you do? Have you ever gone through something like this, or helped someone who did? Let us know in the comments. Like the video if you felt it. And subscribe if you want more life stories that stay with you.